morning, Rick.
Good morning, Chris.
Beautiful book, man. Fast suppers, fish suppers, one-pot suppers, veggie suppers, suppers for one, suppers for two, suppers with friends, something sweet but not much baking involved. We'll get to that in a moment or two.
Good.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, actually. It's a lovely day. Your studio is the best view in London, I would say.
It's not terrible. Your book opens with stories of open heart surgery.
Seems a funny way to start a cookery book, I have to say, but the point of it really was, why don't you talk about open heart surgery if you've had it and share your feelings about it? But the other thing was, the first day before I had the operation, I had the fantastic hospital food haddock, very simply done, bit of soy sauce, olive oil, roasted peppers, some haddock. Yeah, it was lovely. And I just thought, if this is the way hospital food's going, we're all in for a jolly time every time I go to hospital. Next day, after the op, feeling a little bit groggy, I have to say, they asked me what I'd like for Sunday lunch the next day. And I said, roast lamb and mint sauce. And it was terrible. It was just terrible. The mint sauce, I can remember to this day, it was like chewing minty gum, but not chewing gum, just sort of gluggy, horrible stuff. It might have been my drugged up state at the time. But as a result of it, I was just thinking, that dish, that's a simple dish. That's the sort of dish I like to cook all the time and just keep it simple. And that was the sort of the sort of basics of how I came along with all these simple dishes, really. That's what it was.
One of the reasons I love your cooking anyway is because it does seem achievable. You know, when we watch you on the telly, there's nice chopping, which is very meditative. You know, there's simple mixtures, lots of butter-based sauces and things like that. It's often to do with fresh food, depending on where you are in the world. And often, the more off the beaten track you go, the simpler the cooking is anyway.
Well, that's right. And I mean, simple is great for me. I mean, the other thing I think about my sort of style on cooking is, I always remember Antonio Carluccio, the Italian chef. I used to love him on telly. They used to say he was avuncular, like your ancient uncle. I feel I'm the same sort of geezer, really. But he used to just take his time cooking things.
Yeah.
And when you watched him, you just thought, I could do that. I feel sort of at peace at home and not stressed by too much really, really chefy chopping.
Yeah, and also
I like to do the same.
The coordination of all the different things that take different times to cook. I mean, we've had our second Sunday roast post summer. We'll have one every Sunday now, but there's lots going on there. And what we've started to do is reduce the number of ingredients and just so it's less stressful, more achievable, and it does have a certain sort of piece to it when it arrives on the plate. Roasties take centre stage as always, and then we'll go one or two or three or four things. Yesterday, Tash did red cabbage. We didn't eat most of it, so we're striking things off the list. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Well, if you've got some leftover, there's a red cabbage. There's a very nice recipe in the book for bubble and squeak cakes. Yeah. Okay, so that's your roasties and your cabbage all chopped up, maybe mixed with a bit of dripping from the pan, made into a cake, like a fish cake, and fried with a poached egg on top. I just love bubble and squeak.
So do I. Do you know where it gets its name, bubble and squeak?
No, I should have looked it up.
We should know that, shouldn't we? Between us, we should have known that. One pot suppers is in there as well. Now, you prefix the one pot supper chapter with tales of the one, the only, the legend that is the Oliver Reed of cooking, Keith Floyd.
Yeah, well, it's a sort of bit of a silly joke, really, but David Pritchard, who made endless TV series with Keith before I worked with him, used to say, you possibly may have known this, but Keith liked a glass or two, and he loved pubs. So the joke was that you'd do a one-pot dish, so you'd get everything ready, fry off your beef or whatever it is, your onions, garlic, get it all going, bubbling away. Then you leave it to cook for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and you go down the pub, right? Then you come back and it's finished and you finish off the dish. That, to him and David, as it happens, was the perfect dish. And only one pot, so the camera stayed in the one dish.
Yeah, no, the one pot thing, it's a one pot legend. How well did you know Keith Floyd?
I knew him very well, actually. I mean, he used to come to my restaurant in the really early days, and I was just in awe of him because in addition to having 3 restaurants in Bristol, not all at the same time, he'd also had a restaurant in Provence. So he sort of introduced me to Provençal fish soup and baride. But the idea of an Englishman having a restaurant in the south of France was, big big honour, really.
Yeah, and big kahunas as well to go
Big
and
kahunas.
do it. He had a restaurant in Ireland, didn't he?
He did for a short time in Cork, just outside Cork,
There's
I
a
think.
beautiful village. Can't remember the name of it. I went there.
Was it Kinsale?
Kinsale, exactly.
Yeah. It's
And he
lovely. I love Kinsale.
Little hotel and restaurant there.
Yeah.
That's very renowned for its food, isn't it, Kinsale?
Well, it's a great place, Kinsale. They're very, very pleased I'm talking about it on your programme. But the thing that impressed me about Kinsale in the 80s was that all the restaurants in Kinsale got together and said, let us sell Kinsale.
Yeah.
It's not about the individual restaurant, it's about the town. And it's a beautiful town. Lots of sailing happens around there.
That's not far off Padstow's mentality, really.
It is, and I feel the same way because Padstow's got a lot of restaurants and got a Michelin star restaurant in Paul Ainsworth, but it's the whole attraction that brings people there.
You look great. You sound great. It's so lovely to have you around as ever. You're an amazing human being. You've got great energy behind everything you do.
So have you, as it happens, Chris.
It's so good to see you well. I'm really pleased for you. When you were not so well, when you were recovering from this open heart surgery, which is no mean thing, and by the way, well done to everybody who helps us to A, spot it when it's required, B, facilitate the surgery, and C, look after us all afterwards. And we never give those people enough gratitude.
I'm having dinner with my cardiologist on Friday to thank him.
Oh, can I have his number? I'm not joking, by the way. What other reflections did you think about going forward? Because you've had a fantastic life. I know you'd be the first to say that and to be thankful for it. What do you think for the next few years? What's going to happen with all your industry, with all your activities, with all your busyness?
Well, I suppose one of the things of having successful heart surgery like that, by the way, anybody that's had it will know you're part of the unzipped club. Basically,
is what they call it.
Yeah, the unzipped club. Is that it just gives you a new lease of life. It is one of those operations that I think the surgeon said it's a bit of a plumbing job, and you got your sort of you sort of got your health back because obviously before that for about 4 or 5 years I was suffering from breathlessness and lots of
why.
I didn't know why.
And you normalised it, probably.
Yeah, you do. I think that's what humans do. We just adapt to a new situation and learn to live with it. But just having it done and having this sort of like rush. I just put a song in the book, actually, Stevie Winwood's Back in the High Life Again.
Saw that, yeah.
Just simply because I just felt, I'm back doing my normal stuff, and you'd be the same.
Yeah,
it's just this sort of joy of actually getting back and doing things.
Re-winning the lottery again.
It is, Chris. It is.
And you still swimming?
Gosh, yes. I love my swimming.
You reckon that could be key to your recovery?
Well, I do think everybody needs to take a bit of exercise, and swimming for me is perfection. Because I've got these aquatic earphones, so I can listen to music while I'm swimming, so it's not that boring.
And you're an open water, cold water guy.
Yeah, I do love my cold water. I mean, you can't stay in for long because I don't use a wetsuit, but it's just that sort of rush.
You've been in it for years, haven't you?
I have, probably 20 years, I think. Yeah. It's just part of. Yeah, I'd probably get a bit sort of crotchety if I wasn't able to swim every day.
You've always reminded me of Daniel Craig.
Really?
Do you know why?
No.
Honestly, I'm not joking. I'm not being cute. Because I always thought, what must it feel like? Not anymore because he's finished. But what must it feel like when Daniel Craig finally raps on a Bond movie and he gets on that plane to go wherever he's going? Till the next one, I thought, that must be a thing. We've just made another Bond movie. I've just been James Bond again. And I always think the same about you and the second week in December, because I've been with you a couple of times on this particular day. A couple of years you've been on the show saying, it's that day again. I go, don't talk to me about that day. And then a couple of times we've been out for lunch and you say, it's that day again, so don't talk about that day. And it's a day where, when I go back to my house at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you fly to Australia for Christmas.
Yes.
And that's why you always remind me of Daniel Craig.
It's true. Well, it's funny, actually. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it's just the best feeling getting on that plane and thinking, I'm going to.
I bet you know the date this year, don't you?
Well, it's a bit earlier.
But I bet you know the date.
12th.
Good for you, Rick. Why there? Flipping heck not. It's great to see you again, man.
Very nice to see you.
You're the best.